Thank you so much for joining us to the Flawless Growth podcast.
Thank
For
you for inviting me.
Absolutely, super happy to have you. For those who may not know you yet, could you share a quick overview of who you are and also what you do at Compass Fitness?
Okay, so basically, I've always worked in the health and fitness field. My online business is Hubbard Athletic. I've been a personal trainer and online coach for about 15 years,
Mhm.
and Compass Fitness is one of the gyms that I've owned during that time. I've had two gyms over
Okay.
that sort of period of time. So I started off just with an interest in health and fitness when I was at university.
Mhm.
I was studying health and fitness purely really for my own interest because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then my whole career has been based off the back of that, really.
Beautiful. I love fitness too. I am not as fit as you are, but I love it. I go to the gym. I've been going to the gym for I think now like 11 years, and I'm pretty
That's
consistent,
awesome.
and I love
Yeah, so
it.
you've made it part of your lifestyle, which is really what it's all
Correct.
about.
Correct. I cannot like I just got shoulder surgery, and I had a month without doing anything, and I was going crazy.
Yeah,
It
when
was
it's
so
taken
boring.
away, you realise why you need it.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and I think you touched a little bit on this, but you said you also have your own like business or website, right? Apart from
Yeah,
what you
so
do in Compass Fitness.
my website is juliahubbard.co.uk. Really easy to find if you know my name.
Mhm.
And my website really is just kind of a snapshot overview of who I am and what services I provide. So
Mhm.
a lot of my clients will Google looking for either me or for coaching, and the website really just outlines everything I do. Really.
Mhm. And so you get clients like separately from your website, and then some others through Compass Fitness.
Yeah. So my one-to-one clients would come through the gym,
Uh huh.
and my online clients tend to find me by
Oh, okay.
searching online. Yeah.
Okay, and so you do like also like classes online, like where you connect like this with somebody to train them.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
basically work through an app. I've got a branded app
Oh,
that
okay.
my clients will log into. And what I do is I design their diet and their training, and we set them goals for
Mhm.
like step counts, cardio, things like that. And we connect through the app, so we can message through their all their training plans are on there, so they can go to the gym, open the app, and all their workouts there, and
Mhm.
then we can update it as we go along. So it's perfect because I can have clients anywhere in the world. It doesn't really matter
Yeah.
what time zone we're on,
Uh huh.
as long as they've got access to the app, we can connect. And yeah, so I'm not training them one to one with them right in front of me. So it's perfect for the type of person who is kind of familiar with the gym, but they've got really
Mhm.
specific goals and they want someone to help them get there, but they
Mhm.
don't necessarily need a personal trainer kind of on their shoulder, kind of making them do the workout.
Right. Right. They already have a little bit like the discipline, so they don't need like
Yeah.
that trainer that like that compromise of the person that's there, and they already probably know a little bit more. It's not like a new person that it's just gonna start out.
Yeah, it's rarely I would get a complete beginner because generally they want someone kind of right with them in the gym.
Uh huh.
But
Uh
when
huh.
they're familiar with the gym, they've maybe training for a
Mm-hmm.
little while, it's more cost effective than having a trainer right there
Mm.
with you.
Right.
Um, it also means you can access a coach that really aligns with your goals. So I've got quite a specific niche, so I'll have clients
Mm-hmm.
from all over the place that I can connect with that may not have a coach that's suitable on
Mm-hmm.
their doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
So then I can help them achieve their goal. But they're familiar with the gym, and they're probably already tracking food and know
Uh huh.
roughly how to do all that. But they just need that guidance to get them to their actual goal. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm somewhere you've got your personal trainer in the gym with you, and I do that as well. I've got
Mm-hmm.
clients who they need that motivation to get to the gym, but
Yeah.
my online clients, they're generally quite motivated. Sometimes they just need some accountability to stay on track,
Mm-hmm.
but usually they've just got a really specific goal and they just want someone to help them. And I also have clients who are also personal trainers who just don't have time to program in for themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice to have someone do that for you so
100%.
that you can just switch off and enjoy your workout.
100%. Like I've never done, I've never had a personal trainer, but I do enjoy a lot the classes just because of that. I don't have to think what to do.
And exactly. Someone just tells you, you can switch off and be in your own space.
Because sometimes when I'm outside, I'm like, okay, should I do this machine or should I do this machine? And it takes a little bit more mental power. But I know that having a personal trainer would probably get you to the next level because all bodies are different. I have a shoulder problem, so like if I tell my personal trainer, hey, this is my problem, he'll like run the program through those specifics, and it's or if I just wanna, I don't know, like grow more like my legs, then my upper body will work more on my legs, things like that. So definitely, like I see the value there. I haven't done it just because of economics, but 100%, like it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've hit the nail on the head. There's everybody is different, and we all need something slightly different. And there's so much information out there. You could Google endlessly and may not find the right advice for you. So the trainer comes with their experience, and they learn about you, and then find the right plan to help you get to your goal, which could be completely different to someone else. So one of the things that I am very conscious of is that I never do generic plans, that all my clients have very individual plans for their food and for their training, because everyone's lifestyle is different. We've all got different genetics, we've got different amount of time available, different gyms or equipment that we can use. So it's really important to tailor everything directly to that person to make it as easy as possible for them to reach their goals.
Correct, exactly. Julia, you've had a very incredible athletic journey, even competing at a world level. So can you share how you first got into all of this?
Yeah, of course. So I have always just loved sport. So right back from when I was at primary school, doing an egg and spoon race, sports day was my favourite day of the year. And then as I got older, I kind of tried all different sports and found that athletics was the one that so track and field was the one that I really resonated with. And I did that right through until I finished university. And then a few years down the line, I was watching the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, and was watching the bobsleigh event and just Googled how do you get into this sport, because I'd never really heard much about it. And in England, we don't have the weather or facilities to do a sport like that. So I looked it up and I got invited to, I filled in an application form just because why not? Never expected to hear anything back. Got invited to Talent ID Day, and it's a funny story because the Talent ID Day that I went to, I actually failed. I got a thanks but no thanks letter.
Okay.
Post, and I emailed them and said, can you let me know where I went wrong, because I'd really like to come back and do it again. And I got a phone call from the performance director saying that he'd never had an athlete actually come back after a rejection.
Oh wow.
And based on my attitude, he invited me to train with the team. So I got to train with the current British team all that summer and got to try out again. And that time I actually just scraped onto the development squad, competed in Europe for a year, and then we came to North America and did a few races, like friendly matches against the US and Canada. And then I came back and tried even harder and managed to get onto the World Cup squad. And I got very close to getting to the Olympics in Vancouver.
Wow.
But unfortunately, I had quite a bad accident, which took me out of the sport.
What happened?
And I actually fractured my back in an accident, and although I recovered kind of 100% from that, the trauma of the accident actually triggered a heart condition that I didn't even know I had.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then of course once you've got a diagnosis for a heart condition, it's very difficult to kind of get insurance to do what is quite a dangerous sport.
Right.
At that point, I ended up retiring from the sport because I just couldn't perform as an athlete in that kind of sport at the level that I needed to.
Right.
But my two teammates did go to compete at the games, and it was wonderful to watch them achieve their goal, even though I didn't quite make it. But that led me on my journey to bodybuilding, which is a sport that I did for 10 years. Absolutely loved it, and it caught me at a really low time in my life because I hadn't recognised that when you've lived and breathed a sport for a number of years, and suddenly it's taken away from you, partly due to ill health and injury, I think I probably was suffering with kind of low mood, a bit of depression, really just losing my identity. Didn't really know who I was anymore because for all my life up to that point, I'd really focused on being an athlete. And then I kind of stumbled across bodybuilding, which was a sport that my heart condition wasn't going to be affected by because it wasn't an adrenaline sport. And it helped me to constantly have goals to train for. So the reason why I love the sport is because every time I would compete, I would get feedback and then I'd try and improve for the next show. And it just went on like that. I think I did 68 competitions in the end.
Oh, wow.
I've got 19 pro titles, won several world and universe and Olympia titles in the natural sport. So I've had a wonderful time with that, and that got me back into doing track. And now I do fitness races as well. So I really kind of fill my year with lots of different types of competing, but I love them all for different reasons.
Exactly. I love this story because there's, I think, two things that are very cool here. The way you entered, like there's multiple ways of achieving a goal, right? You didn't pass the first time, but you didn't stay there. You called them and you asked, and then you got in. So that's beautiful. Like sometimes we just accept the no, and that's it.
Yes.
So that is incredible. And the second one, after having a tough time, I guess everything happens for a reason, but you didn't stay there because some people stay there, unfortunately, and you found another passion. And that's also a little bit like around sports, not the same thing, but something that you already like enjoyed and you found a different passion, and then you got out of that mini depression or depression.
Yeah, definitely. I do think we probably accept no too easily.
Yeah.
When sometimes we don't know quite how close we are until we ask.
Exactly.
And it's just that thing where you're not really failing.
Yeah.
You're just learning. And as long as you can learn from it and not be afraid to ask and not be afraid to be a complete beginner either, because that was both those sports, bodybuilding and bobsleigh, were sports that I really didn't really know a lot about, but I was willing to be a beginner and have a go. And more recently with fitness racing as well, that's something, doing more endurance-based stuff when I'm a sprinter is quite challenging when it's not really the thing that you're supposed to be good at. But it's quite liberating to just accept being a beginner and learn about something new.
Exactly. Be willing to suck, which we hate.
Yeah.
We all hate sucking. But be willing to do that because that's the only way that you're not gonna suck. You'll suck a little bit less, and then get to good.
Yeah, you're either winning or learning. It's one or the other.
Correct. Okay, is there any moment in your competitions where you like that stands out in your memory or something that you remember a lot?
Oh, do you know what? I've been so lucky. I've got so many amazing memories. But I think the first time you wear an international vest is something that no other experience is like. So with bobsleigh, the first time I got to wear a GB race suit, it has to stand out as one of my best moments. And winning my first world title on the track as a masters athlete, which is for the older athletes, that was really special. But the thing that I really love, and this is, even though I'm the most competitive person and I do like winning things, it's the travelling. I always try and pick competitions where I can travel, so I get to see a new place, maybe visit a new culture, meet new people, and it's those experiences that make it what it is for me, probably more than anything else. Because you can win a trophy or a medal or a title, but if you're not happy before, you won't be happy afterwards. And I think if you pin everything on winning the competition, only one person inevitably is going to be happy. So for me, although I am very competitive and I do like to win,
Mm-hmm.
I like to see it as a whole thing. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to compete, I want to go and have a whole experience, not
Yes,
just turn up, compete, and go home. And I've met some
exactly.
incredible people, seen some beautiful countries that I may not have travelled to if I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't gone because of a competition. So they're the kind of memories that I really treasure.
Beautiful, because yes, it's making the experience not just about one thing, but
Yeah,
multiple things. So making sure that if you don't get that one thing, you're gonna get other stuff that you're enjoying as well.
yeah.
Yeah. And what inspired you from or when you started competing, did you started coaching right away, or that took a little bit like long after competing?
Yeah, so although I was a personal trainer, I was really doing very generic work.
Okay.
I wasn't coaching for bodybuilding, partly because I needed to understand the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You have very specific timelines and criteria that you're working to. So I did have a coach for my first competition, and then after that, I coached myself for the 9.5 years after that.
Okay.
Um, and I started to get people asking me about whether I was coaching after
Mm-hmm.
about 5 years into competing.
Okay.
So I decided to get educated. So I did some online courses, I went to some seminars, and then I practiced on two people, my best friend and my sister, both
Awesome.
completely different body types, wanted to do different categories. So I coached them just to make sure that I was comfortable with how to coach well. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I'd done that successfully, I then started to accept clients that were specifically for competing in either bodybuilding or fitness racing.
Okay.
And I really love it because you have these set deadlines that you have to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to be. I got into the health and wellness space because health and wellness is really important to me, and bodybuilding can be seen as a sport that is none of those things. And I like to
Really?
prove that it can be done in a very healthy and positive way.
Okay.
So, so yeah, so that is health and is always at the forefront of when I'm prepping someone to compete in a show. So yeah, I took 5 years of my own experience and a couple of people who volunteered to help me learn through prepping them, and and then for 10, 11 years I've been coaching other, mostly women but a few men, to compete on stage, and I actually find it much more satisfying coaching someone else to achieve a goal than myself. um
Mm, okay.
yeah, I do get a lot of satisfaction from that. Yeah.
Love it. And question, why do you think people say that it might not be that bodybuilding might not be very health or wellness related because they think it's like too extreme, I would say.
It can be extreme, but there's two sides of the sport as well. There's the
Uh-huh.
natural sport
Uh-huh.
where there's no performance enhancing drugs involved, and then
Okay.
there's a whole side of the sport that does have that. Um, so from the outside looking in, it can look very extreme. So
Mm-hmm.
what I would call discipline, someone else might call obsessive.
Mm.
So it's making sure that we don't tunnel in so close on the goal that we kind of lose the picture of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think some bodybuilding diets can be very restrictive. So I want to give my clients variety, so that the diet is still healthy, even if they are on low calories. But yeah, from the outside, it can look um, very extreme. But I think any sport at the highest level
Yeah.
gets to the point where you're tipping a balance of what is high performance and what is ultimate health.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to keep that as the focus of anyone that I take on a client. Their long term health is
Okay.
the most important thing to me. Yeah, trophies are amazing. I want to get my clients in the best possible shape,
Yeah.
but I also want to make sure that we're not storing up problems for the future as well.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing because it's terrible. Like I don't know. I saw a story of this guy that he was a I don't know his name, but he was a black guy and he would like lift crazy amounts of weight, and I think right now he cannot even walk, and he's young, and it's sad. He's trying to I doing a lot of physical therapy to walk again, but I don't know how he like ruined his muscles or his joints or whatever. So very important. Like 'cause you're gonna get old at one point. You know, you have to think of your long term life.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does your experience influence? You touched a little bit about this, but maybe we can expand more. Influence your coaching today.
So I do draw on a lot of my own experience as well as what I've learned from courses and seminars.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I do that probably not a lot of coaches do is I'm really open to athletes who compete in more than one sport.
Okay.
So my background has always been crossing athletics with bodybuilding or with fitness racing. I like to have a performance related sport, not just always be focused on what I look like.
Mm.
Um, and that's quite a niche. I don't think there's many coaches out there who are really comfortable in combining two sports. So for
Mm.
myself, as a sprinter, my cardio
Mhm.
for my bodybuilding would be my sprint training on the track.
Okay.
So it isn't too difficult to kind of combine the two. But I've had athletes that do martial arts or powerlifting um, as well, and we structure their training so that they can keep a high level of both. Um, so that's one of the things that I draw my experience in from. The other thing that I do specialize in is vegan bodybuilding. So again, drawing on my own experience as a vegetarian athlete and then as a vegan athlete. And although most of my clients aren't vegan,
Mhm.
a lot of them are vegetarian, or they just have an interest in health
Mhm.
and maybe want to have a more plant-based diet, even if they don't want to completely go that way.
Mhm.
So again, being an athlete my whole career, with that diet, I can bring that experience in to help other people who would like to prep in the same way.
Mhm.
So that is another niche that I have that I draw on my own experience from. But I do also coach anyone with any diet
Uh-huh.
because it's not my place to tell other people how to eat. I just
Yeah.
know what feels best for me, and what I personally believe is the healthiest way to eat.
Got it. Got it. And do you feel it's harder or easier or the same thing being vegan or being like eating meat and stuff for the results?
Well, interestingly, in endurance sports, a plant-based diet has been seen as performance enhancing. Because of the high level of nutrients you get in
Mm-hmm.
your food, because you're eating so many fruits and vegetables, maybe more than the average
Then the
diet.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, I've never, I've never considered it something that is holding me back at all. In fact, I actually do think it's helpful. And in terms of bodybuilding, my diet is probably much more interesting because I have to have variety, even just in my protein sources, to get all my amino acids. So my diet's probably more varied
Mm-hmm.
than the standard bodybuilding diet, which I think is much easier to stick to because
Mm.
it's more interesting.
Yeah, because the others, I guess, is a lot of chicken and rice, right? Fish and rice.
Yeah, it can get quite repetitive, whereas I have to really think about my macros because vegan protein is always attached to a carb or a fat, so you have to be quite aware of that when you're programming your diet. But yeah,
Interesting.
I've never seen it as something that's helped me back at all.
Beautiful. And when did you start it being vegan?
I went vegetarian when I was 15, and I didn't start
Wow.
training properly for sport until I was 16. So my whole athletic career has been vegetarian. And then I think it's probably 11 or 12 years since I went fully vegan.
Vegan.
So I'm
Was
probably
it
the
very hard for you?
slowest transition ever.
Right. Was it hard for you at all, or no?
No, I mean, it used to be harder than it is now. I mean,
Uh
I
huh.
would say the hardest thing now is trying to be a healthy vegan because there's so much vegan junk food and
Yes. Right.
vegan cakes. And yeah, whereas 10 years ago, you
Hmm.
kind of had to eat healthy because there weren't really many choices. So it was probably easier back then to stay healthy on it, whereas now there's a lot more temptation.
Oh yeah, and also I would say a lot of things that say they're vegan, but they're not, like, or they're very unhealthy. So you
Yeah,
have to.
I read a lot of food labels.
Exactly.
Shopping can take a while. Yeah.
Yes, I'm always doing that too, and it's funny because I teach my mom, and then everybody also sees her like doing that, and people like look at her like, and she's just say sometimes like she's at the supermarket and I'm home, and she takes photos and shows me, is this good, is this not good, and I'm like reading through
Oh,
my
I
phone.
love that.
So cute. Yeah, she's very cute with that. Okay, Julia.
Oh,
Now let's talk a little bit about business growth and digital marketing, if that's okay with you.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. In Compass Fitness, do you have any involvement with the digital marketing there, or that's something that's totally separate, like a separate department?
Yeah, so in the gym and in my online business, I was pretty much responsible for all the marketing
Oh,
decisions.
cool.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm an expert in it. I kind of just learned as I went along. And at
Ah.
points, so we would generally, our marketing was building organic growth really. So
Mm-hmm.
for the gym, the focus would be on looking after the members and getting them to refer people in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've
Mm-hmm.
got a good base of members
Mm-hmm.
and they bring in similar people, you're going to get a good atmosphere in the gym.
Yeah.
And then you really want to grow on reputation.
Yeah.
So that would be our main focus. And then from a marketing point of view, it would all be our social media, our Google page, and we did, coming off the pandemic, is probably the first time we used kind of paid marketing. And we used a company to help us really make sure that all our information was correct across all the different search engines, because I hadn't realised how you can set up your Google page, but then there could be other platforms or the search engines also gathering information. So we had a company just ensure that was all correct, and then we did some social media ads, and also bumping us up the search engines, so that when people were googling, we would come up at the top of the page. That sort of marketing, which we found really useful in just rebuilding our brand after being shut for quite a long time. So then putting those ads together would be me, and keeping up the social media on the gym's page and on my fitness page. That's pretty much all me.
Oh wow! So you wear different hats, which is cool.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I wear a lot of hats too in my business.
It keeps life interesting. No 2 days are ever the same. When you're like 1 minute you're with a client, the next minute you're kind of charging your gym up, and the next minute you're kind of online creating posts.
100%. And it's crazy how many companies I see with what you mentioned, that there's a lot of different search engines or different pages like Bing, Reddit, whatever, a lot of different, and you see different addresses, you see different times that they're open, you see the wrong category, a lot of like that happens a lot, and I do think that all of the businesses should review that and make sure they do a cleanup. And there are some of them that people can like put suggestions of how the business is, and sometimes people put the wrong suggestions. So it's also to put to make sure you're cleaning that up. At least, I don't know, every 6 months, once a year, or something like that.
Yeah, that was something that I didn't really know where to start with. So we employed a company to come in and help us do that, and it was definitely worth it, because the worst situation is where someone comes in and they've been given the wrong opening hours,
totally.
and they're turning up as you're closing. Like that's a horrible thing to happen. And just to have someone go through and ensure that all the information everywhere is linked together so that it stays consistent was really valuable.
Super valuable. That has happened to me a lot, even going to restaurants. I find it on Google Maps, I go, and it's closed. It happens a lot. It's terrible. Okay, and Is there any specific challenge that you guys have had apart from that one in marketing, or that you guys still have?
Um, Challenges. I think really just letting people know who you are. I think it can be quite a skill to learn how to really show people who you are, and just being really mindful of what you post on social media. That's your people's first impression of who you are, and making sure that you're sending out the message that resonates with what you actually do. And I think that's something I learned over time. Like, I've had people say that they were a bit scared to contact me about coaching because they were a bit intimidated. Um, and I think I'm a very unintimidating person,
You
and
are.
I work a lot with beginners. But what I realised is when you on your social media, you kind of got your highlight reel of your client results or your own results, and I realised that actually the message I was sending was that maybe I only trained people that were at a certain level already. So then I had to go back and actually have a look, and it's something I still do now, is look at my page and think, does my social media actually represent who I am and the type of person that I serve? And if it doesn't, I need to update that and make sure that the message I'm sending out is actually what I'm providing. And that can be quite tricky when you're running a couple of different businesses, making sure all of them are sending out the correct message of who you want to attract to your business, and what you represent as a business. So yeah, I think that was probably the thing that I found hardest. And really it comes down to just being very authentic and just really showing up as you are. But yeah, it's very easy to create a profile, a highlight reel that really doesn't represent, it only represents like a small amount of who you are rather than your whole picture.
And was this something that people mentioned to you, or how did you realize this?
Yeah, it really was. It was a couple of comments from clients that I have who said it took them a while to contact me because they weren't sure if I would take them on. And so that really made me sit back and go, right, I need to look at what's in my content and what's that saying about me, and making sure that I try and show up on my social media and show people who I am, so they're not just seeing pictures and videos, that they actually get to hear my voice and see a bit more about who I am. And the same with the gym. Our gym was, it was a big gym, and we would have youngsters at 14 years old, and we would have members in their 80s, and we'd have fitness racing athletes, we'd have strongman athletes, powerlifters, and you've got this whole mix of people. And trying to create the image on social media and in your marketing to show that you can cater for such a diverse number of people is quite tricky.
Totally, I agree. Okay, and when you mentioned that you guys did paid ads, did you do that yourself, or do you guys did it with a company?
I experimented a little bit with myself and realised that I actually had no idea how to pay the ads properly. So then the company, we had to kind of sort out our online profiles on the search engine. They actually, we spoke to them and set up exactly who we were marketing to, what sort of information we wanted to get out there, and then they helped find us the audience that we needed or wanted.
Right. And was this?
So we definitely had help with that.
I think that at this point you should definitely get help, because I've seen it a lot that platforms, they have become a little bit harder, more harder with time, and it's something that is just to benefit them more than benefiting the client, the person that's doing the ads, because the harder they make it, the more money they make, which shouldn't be like that. They should think a little bit more long term to help the client more, because then they're gonna make more money long term if the client stays than if the client just does 4 6 months of ads and it didn't work great because it was so hard, and then they stopped doing ads. And that's
yeah, I feel like you could waste a lot of money not really targeting correctly. So we initially had, I think it was 6 months of paid advertising, and we grew every month we were doing that. And then we had a little break from it because we kind of hit the target we wanted. But just knowing that that's there, and if you get the right help, it can make such a big difference. And also, if you're running businesses, you haven't always got time to sit there and work out exactly the ins and outs of how to do it. And I just feel like there's so much could go wrong. And when you're putting money into it, you want to make sure that you're spending that money in the right places to get you the best return. And like you say, if I'm putting money in every month and I'm not getting results, and I keep going with it, I'm probably going to end up spending a lot more money than actually having someone do it.
Exactly. Yeah, totally, exactly. And that's what people don't see at the beginning, or they think, oh, I'm saving money. No, you're donating money to Google or Facebook or whatever, these huge companies.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's important to focus on organic growth, but I think there are periods of time where it is useful if you just need to hit a new target, or like you've had a setback like the pandemic, where you just want to get your foot back in the door kind of quickly, or if you're a new startup and you want to get up and running quickly. And like I say, I think we sometimes find it very difficult to delegate out as a business owner. You can end up almost in this like echo chamber where you're literally doing everything. And sometimes you just have to sit and work out where are your skills, where are your strengths, and focus on that, and then delegate out the things that maybe you're not as good at.
100%. And it happens to all of us. It has happened to you, me, and every time I try to remind that, like, why am I spending 2 hours like organizing Excel document?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you don't enjoy doing it, then definitely.
Okay.
Thanks for the help.
And so you guys are not doing paid ads right now. It was just that time.
Yeah, we still carried on doing some search engine optimization.
Oh, SEO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we were very lucky that we, after with that initial boost that got us where we needed to be, we were then able to organically grow from there.
Beautiful.
So we didn't have to use it after that, but it did really help get us back on our feet very quickly.
Very nice. Oh, that's amazing to hear. That makes, because I love when people, like, of course they give success stories that ads work. Because a lot of the time, like, some people don't know a lot about them. They're not sure. They think, okay, where my money is going. So it's a good story that you have there. Okay.
And I think it's important to have someone who understands the industry you work in as well, because they're going to understand your business, the type of clients you want to bring in, and then they'll understand where to go to get that. But I think it's important to kind of choose who you invest in to help you very carefully.
A lot that can happen is that, for example, let's say you're targeting the keyword gym, for example, but that can be very broad, because you can show up for things that are looking for people that are looking for gym funny pictures, or gym
or even gymnastics as a sport.
Exactly.
Sometimes gym
gymnastics
can go both.
100%. And now with, like, because they've made the audiences and the keywords a little bit broader than what they used to be. So you have to be very careful cleaning up that traffic and making sure that you're in a little bit like using longer type of keywords. Gym in this location, something like that. So you make sure that the person is really looking for what you're offering.
Yeah.
Okay, Julia, thank you so